Hello, Tamara Buckin with Reclaim Initiative. Today is Wednesday, June 15th. I just wanted to check in with everyone to see how it's going now that our weekly meetings are completed. We're in a season that we call Abide, which is an intentional rest where we do have a separate, different rhythm, and it's a chance to be more one-on-one with God and to seek Him out, to continue to discover more about what He's saying to us regarding seeking first the kingdom in the kingdom age. So here's the challenge about an Abide season, is that we've been meeting corporately and there's been a lot of support and a lot of focus on kingdom living. But now that we are each in our own Abide season, we are not meeting together weekly and we're not focusing on a lesson each week. And so it's very, very, very easy, and it's amazing how fast it can happen, that we slip back into all our old patterns and we think, did any of that stick? So it's been on my mind that I wanted to give you some resources that can really help to make it stick, and that in this season you're not only keeping what you gained, but you're also gaining more and more that you'll have to share with others when we reconnect. So the first place I would recommend starting is, the Bible. Reading the Gospels and discovering what Jesus has to say in the kingdom may be really enlightening to you. It was to me. All that time I read through the lens of the church season, I missed everything He was saying about the kingdom. But once God awakened me to the kingdom, I saw that every single thing He said was really about the kingdom. And so that was really helpful for me for building the foundation. And I have two versions I want to recommend to you, because once again, if you're going to read it in the version you've always used, it's going to sound the same to you. And there may not be the opportunity for those new brain spirit paths to be developed. So the first one I recommend is the Passion Translation. And here's why. Brian Simmons was a translator in tribal places, I think South America, for his entire career. And he and his wife came home to California to retire. But instead of retiring, he had a face-to-face encounter with Jesus, where Jesus told him, here's what I want you to do, Brian. I want you to do an interpretation of the Bible directed to my sons and daughters who are seeking the kingdom and learning to rule and reign in it. That's us, you guys. He was speaking to Brian about us. And I want you to use 3 different languages in the translations. The first one is Greek. That's the one that we read the New Testament with. Greek is a Western language that comes through a mindset of mind. So it's very mind-driven, which fit perfectly in the church season. But now that we're in the kingdom and it's about relationship and heavenly vantage point and alignment, the addition of the translation of Hebrew, which is the language the Jews always spoke, and Aramaic, which is what most of the Jews spoke. Hebrew was the official language. Aramaic was the everyday useful language. And they're both heart languages. And they're both from the Eastern mindset, which is where Jesus lived. So it's so amazing to see those 3 woven together. And then the notes that are included are golden in themselves and have unlocked many things for me as I've studied and read. The second Bible I want to recommend is called The Mirror. And the translator's whole focus, he's South African, is that we are a mirror of Jesus. We were created in His blueprint and image. And so it's not a direct translation. So don't read it as a direct translation, because that trips people up and shuts them down if we read it legalistically like that. But boy, does it open up my heart and mind. Boy, does it open up my spirit to want more. It makes me hungrier and hungrier to know God, because it's so focused on his love for us, versus many of the versions that were focused on keeping God's people in line. I read just yesterday about the King James Bible. I knew that it was directed by King James, but it was translated into Latin, which is a double translation, so it gets weaker and weaker with every language you translate through, by a man who wanted to be an archbishop. And so in 21 places in the King James Bible, there's a substitution for the word listen to obey. Think about that. King James wanted that in there so his subjects would obey him and not be listening to God. That's why these new translations that are written to encourage God's kingdom people to rule and reign are more in line with where God is in progressive revelation right now. Progressive revelation just means that God reveals more and more about himself through the ages. Okay, those are the Bibles. The second recommendation I would make is I've developed a series called You Are Meant for More. They're simple books, around 100 pages each, and they're focused on identity. The fourth one is called 5 Stages of Identity. It comes out of Luke 4, and it's the journey that Jesus went through. I think they're super helpful. They have a reflect question and a do something at the end of each short chapter. They have resources in the back, and there's even videos on Reclaim Initiative, or if you get the online, I recommend the ebook from our website, reclaiminitiative.com, that you can watch that tell some of the stories. So these books are directly geared for you to move from information to transformation. And they make super great book studies with you and another person. I say 4 is about the maximum number I recommend, but it's a great thing to maybe do with your husbands in the mornings, or to invite a friend to do, or maybe to have 3 or 4 friends come. So You Were Meant for More. It's on the website, reclaiminitiative.com. All right, these are some of the writers, as I was doing a lot of breaking through, that have really influenced me, and I wanted to share some of them for you. They'll feel unfamiliar, and that's the point. It's to help stretch you and bring you more into alignment with what God is doing in this kingdom age season. All right, the first writer who is really cutting edge right now and has had so many heavenly experiences that has absolutely transformed everything about his life and theology is Mike Parsons. He's an Englishman. He's very unassuming. You would never know he was having such amazing experiences, but he's amazing. I love him because he's not sensational, and I really trust his heart and what he's doing. His first book is called My Journey Beyond Beyond. And I would recommend starting with that one. The second one is called The Restoration of All Things. I've been going through it for a whole year. It's pretty mind-blowing. It wouldn't be the place where I would recommend starting, but it's a place to absolutely seek to get to. A second writer that I really appreciated is Joshua Mills. He's written 2 really good books that helped in the realm of angels. He has a book called Seeing Angels, and then learning more about the glory realm. The glory realm is super important as the bride of Christ and as the one in which the tabernacle dwells within us. So that one's called Moving in the Glory Realms by Joshua Mills. Then there's another man who's not terribly well known, but I really appreciated his books. His name is Christopher Paul Carter, and he wrote Caught Up in the Spirit, A Journey from Complacency to Glory, and Cosmic Shift, A New Season of Faith. I really like both of those, but the Cosmic Shift I thought was fascinating. Then there's a man named Justin Abraham, and he does some podcastings, and his is a lot about the experience of heavenly experiences. And he wrote a book that was really interesting and helpful too, called Beyond Human. And the quote that I remember most about that book is that the human spirit, that's the place where God dwells within us, has infinite capacity to grow. Our human spirit, which is where God dwells, has infinite capacity to grow. There's no limitations for us. So, and then the final book I want to recommend is called Quantum Glory. It's by Phil Mason. This is a book that God had me read when I was in England in 2017. He had me reading all about frequency for the whole 10 days I was there. And I was really frustrated because I was like, why am I spending all this time reading when I'm on vacation? But that's when we found out that Bill's cancer had spread, or the cancer Bill has been given has spread. And God provided a miracle for him, because kidney cancer that spreads is very deadly. But we met a woman who does frequency treatments, and his cancer has been pretty stagnant since 2017. It's been a huge miracle in our lives. And quantum physics is really worth exploring, because it opens up the kingdom realm in a pretty powerful way. Quantum physics hasn't been around all that long, but it was given so that we could understand more completely how these miracles and the ways that Jesus was able to disappear when the crowd was trying to push him off the cliff, and how Philip just appeared beside a chariot with a Ethiopian eunuch in it. So teleportation is very real, and it's a more specific name for heavenly experiences, but sometimes our body actually goes there too. Most of the time it's just our spirit. All right, so that's a long-winded thing, but Quantum Glory by Phil Mason is a really interesting, pretty mind-blowing book if you have little to no knowledge of quantum physics. All right. Those are just a few of my favorites. I didn't want to overwhelm you, but you're going to receive a list via email, and I say pick a couple. Don't bypass the Bible, though. That's my first ask of you, is spend some time each day reading what Jesus says before you jump to other writers, even myself included. But I just bless you now to live out of your full kingdom identity. Yes, as a beloved family member in God's family, but also an heir, trained to inherit all the promises of the kingdom, as well as the beautiful, pure, and holy bride of our beloved bridegroom, and the reality that humanity has been given the privilege to be the dwelling place for God. We are in union with the God who created us and loves us infinitely beyond more than we know right now. Amen.